السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والعاقبة للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأولين والآخرين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. My dear viewers, welcome once again to another live edition of Ask Huda in another beautiful day in the blessed month of Ramadan. As you all can tell, we are running out of time and Ramadan is slipping out of our hands. May Allah the Almighty make it our best Ramadan ever, accept the best of our deeds, pardon us and forgive us our shortcomings. Ameen. Our phone numbers should appear on the bottom of the screen. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to dial any of the following numbers. I'll be more than happy to take your calls, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Zuni from the USA, welcome to Ask Huda, Zuni.
Is regarding.
Yeah, I hear you, sister. Go ahead. Just raise your voice a little bit.
Husband, he said talaq like 8-9 years ago, but and then 2 years ago, and like recently. But all this time, he was extremely angry. He saying he was extremely angry. He doesn't even realize what he was saying at that time, at that moment. And after a few minutes, he realized what he was saying. And I kind of believe him because he doesn't behave like that usually, the way he talked at that moment. Is the talaq still
Got your question, Sister Zuni. If a man happens to utter the word divorce under extreme pressure or extreme anger, where he says, I didn't know how I said that. I don't even recall I said it. I didn't realize. In this case, the person was in a state of temporarily insanity. Yani, he didn't know what he was saying, so he's not accounted for what he said, provided he is genuinely saying so. Because if the person is claiming, it already counted as one talaq. Keep in mind, Zuni and all my dear viewers, that no one divorces his wife while having dinner and enjoying a cup of tea. Normally, divorce happens as a result of quarreling, dispute, and fighting, right? So there will be anger. But what we're talking about is the extreme anger with which, like our Sheikh used to tell us, if there were his mother, his sister, his wife sitting, he doesn't know whom he was addressing. He doesn't realize what he said, in a state of ighlaq, like absent-minded. If this is the case, then such divorce doesn't count and is ineffective. But if he was determined and aware of what he said while angry, then this divorce is definitely valid and it does count. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sister Tayyiba from Kuwait, welcome to Ask Huda.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum. Sheikh, I wanted to know, in the subcontinent, what people do is ladies, they gather in homes in Ramadan specifically, and then we take turns in reciting the Quran, and we feel that, we can complete it within a few days, maybe 10 days or something like that. So is it permissible? Is it from the Sunnah? If we recite it that way, I first recite and then, I give turns to the other sisters to recite.
And whenever you recite, the rest are listening, correct?
Yeah, the others are listening, but we do not do tafsir or anything like that. We just recite with the intention of completing the Quran.
Got it. Would that be considered as Khatmul Quran or completing the recitation of the entire Quran if 10 of us are sitting and each one is reciting and each one takes turns, and whenever one is reciting, the rest are listening, and maybe there is somebody to correct? Is this from the Sunnah? This is from the Sunnah. Getting in a halqa and reciting Quran is definitely from the Sunnah. Reciting and others are listening, then you listen to the recitation of others is from the Sunnah. And the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam once said to Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu anh, recite the Quran for me. He said, but it was revealed upon you. He said, I like to hear it from other than myself. So this format is praiseworthy, and it's not an innovation whatsoever. What is an innovation is when people gather and they give everyone para or one juz, and they read it all in 20 minutes and 30 minutes, and they consider this Khatmul Quran. And normally that is done in the commemoration of the death of a person or a loved ones. And this is not from the Sunnah whatsoever. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Salim from India, welcome to Ask Huda. Salim, go ahead.
Yes, I have a question. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
It's regarding zakat. I have one thing purchased a few years back. At that time, the value of the that plot was around 5 lakhs. Now the price is high. But how much I have to pay zakat on which present rate or the previous rate?
Right. Barakallah fi. Thank you. If any person possesses any amount of money or possesses properties which he purchased for sale and investment, whenever it is time to pay the zakah, he should pay zakah based on the current value, not on the value at the time of the purchase. I purchased gold alloy. I thought it is best to preserve your money nowadays. So when I purchased it, it was $5 US, 5,000, 5K. Now it is 6,500. So the zakah will be on which value? The current value. That applies to everything which is zakatable. Thank you, brother from India. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The name again, Assalamu alaikum. Sister Fatima from the UK, welcome to Ask Huda. Go ahead, Fatima.
Yeah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. No.
I have one question regarding I can't say the word, sorry. My nephew, basically, who was married out of wedlock, is he my mahram when he reaches the age of puberty?
Wait a minute. You've mixed two things together. You said he's your nephew, correct?
Yes. Yes.
But you also said that out of wedlock.
Yes, but so he was born out of wedlock. So basically, my brother had him at a young age. And we raised him since he was a baby because his mum was not Muslim at the time. And then he basically did revert to Islam, but then she had issues with her family and she obviously went back to her old ways. So then that resulted in us having to take him back in, and we have been taking care of him since.
The scholars are of the view that a child who was born out of wedlock, fact number one, he or she are not blameworthy. Alhamdulillah. This is not the issue. لا تزر وازرة وزر أخرى. No bearer of a sin should bear the sin of another. Fact number two, it doesn't establish mahramiyah nor inheritance. Why? Because this child was not born due to a valid marriage, rather because of a wedlock. So that means he is your nephew because, or biologically, but when it comes to the relationship, he's not your mahram. He's not your mahram. And he's not one of the heirs, even from his father, because he was born out of wedlock, unless if the father appoints certain amount of money out of the inheritance for him. This is just to further explain to you, it is not only about the mahram relationship, but it is also about bearing the name, it's about the inheritance, and so on. May Allah guide us to what is best. So he's not your mahram currently, Sister Fatima. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Arij from the KSA, welcome to Ask Huda.
I have a question. We are going to Umrah. We have to book a slot for Umrah, or else there is a fine of 10,000 riyals. Okay, my ticket is booked for 24th of April, but I'm not getting a slot on 24th or 25th or 26th. Till 1st of May, I don't have any slots available. Can I go to Makkah, stay there? When I get the slot, at that time, can I go to Masjid Aisha and wear my ihram? I cannot wear ihram from 24th because I don't know when will I get the slot.
That's a very good question. But if a person is actually going to Mecca and his or her intention is to do Umrah, whether today or tomorrow or next week, they cannot cross the miqat without assuming the intention of ihram. So I'm not sure if it is feasible, if you can speak to the guards, that since the family all have the permit and you don't, if they can let you in. But if you're going to Mecca and you're going to do Umrah, then you must assume the intention of ihram from the miqat. If you're living in Jeddah, for instance, where it's a place within the miqat, you can go to Mecca and come back as you wish. And then whenever you intend to do Umrah, you go back to your home in Jeddah, make an intention of ihram and proceed towards Mecca to do the Umrah. Because we do not know if the app would allow you to do it on the Eid day or the second day or the third day. I know it's kind of complicated, but from the Sharia perspective, any person who's planning to perform Umrah and going to Mecca for Umrah or for Hajj should not cross the miqat without assuming the intention of ihram. May Allah make it easy for your sister and keep following up with the app. Yesterday, somebody in Al-Masjid al-Nabawi was trying, and he's a visitor. He tried it and he clicked that there is a slot or it is open on Thursday. And this is exactly what he wanted because he's going to Mecca on Thursday. May Allah make it easy for you and family to perform Umrah in Ramadan and us as well. Thank you, sister. Assalamu alaikum. Saint from the UK, Assalamu alaikum.
My question is, where did Prophet Adam alayhi salam landed on earth?
I didn't get your question. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you.
Yes. You're asking about where. Go ahead.
Where did he land on earth? I don't know.
There are many different narrations and athar, but to say that there is a sound hadith where it says he landed in India or he landed in KSA or in the Middle East, what we know that they were both lost, and some of the narrations said that they both met in the valley of Arafah, and this is the reason why it is called Arafah, because they got to meet each other, they recognized each other in that place. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala teach us what we do not know. Assalamu alaikum. Right. So today is the 19th of Ramadan. Those of you who are planning to perform i'tikaf, when do you enter the mu'takaf? And where do you observe i'tikaf? And can women also observe i'tikaf? These are very important and valid questions, brothers and sisters. First of all, you need to locate a masjid in which the 5 daily prayers and the Friday prayer is been held and concluded there. because it is not expected to observe i'tikaf in musalla, and then you have to go outside to attend the congregational prayer. Where else? Number two, as far as the time, if you want to observe i'tikaf, the sunnah that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam observed i'tikaf once in the middle 10 days and nights of Ramadan fully. Then when he was informed that Laylatul Qadr is not in the middle part of Ramadan, rather it is in the last 1/3, he also observed i'tikaf in the last 10 days and nights of Ramadan. We've agreed that the night precedes the day in the Islamic calendar. So tomorrow, if it is the 20th, then tomorrow before sunset, you should enter the mu'takaf. You should enter the masjid. And by that, you have observed i'tikaf on the 21st night. And it will be followed by the 21st day of Ramadan. And you stay there until it is announced that tomorrow is Eid, inshallah. Then you can leave the masjid in which you're doing i'tikaf. Can women also observe i'tikaf in the masjid? Of course. And Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam allowed his wives to observe i'tikaf when he was alive. And then after his death, they did also continue observing i'tikaf in the masjid, and the Muslim women likewise. But I heard that there is an opinion which says women only observe i'tikaf at home. Well, Allah the Almighty said otherwise. In ayah number 187, second chapter of the Quran, Surah Al-Baqarah, the Almighty Allah said, وَلَا تُبَاشِرُوهُنَّ وَأَنْتُمْ عَاكِفُونَ فِي الْمَسَاجِدِ. Do not embrace your wives while you are observing i'tikaf fil masajid. Masajid is plural of masjid, in which we offer the 5 daily prayers in congregation. That is called masjid. Yeah, but in my home, in my room in Hujra, I have a little musalla or masjid, or a place to make sujood. As a matter of fact, not only in your room. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said in the hadith, جُعِلَتْ لِيَ الْأَرْضُ مَسْجِدًا وَطَهُورًا فَأَيُّمَا امْرِئٍ مِّنْ أُمَّتِي أَدْرَكَتْهُ الصَّلَاةِ فَلْيُصَلِّ. And that means the whole earth, as long as it is clean, it's a place of sujood. Masjid, a place of sujood. So not because you have a musalla or a janamaz spread in a corner of your room, you say this is my masjid and I observe i'tikaf there. There is no valid i'tikaf at home. Assalamu alaikum. Muhammad from United Arab Emirates. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, Sheikh. I have 2 questions. One,
Yes.
I was eating food on the plate, so the leftover, the bone, I put it on the same plate while eating. So somebody said you should not do that. This is prohibited. And the second one, this is...
No, I'm sorry, with regards to your first question, I didn't really get it, Muhammad. Maybe you're talking from a speakerphone.
Okay.
Now,
the bone, after the leftover bone, I put it on the same plate. So somebody said you should not put the leftover bone or something on the same plate. It's prohibited.
Okay, I got your question. Now, second question,
second one,
please.
There is a person, he has a family and he's earning. Whatever he's earning is enough for his family. Sometimes it's not enough. And he has some savings from his father. He got it, but he's not using it. And the school fee for the children, his brother is paying. So my question is, can we pay zakat for him, or we cannot? Because he has some money saving, but he doesn't want to use this money. So this is my question. He's eligible,
You said he doesn't use it? He has some saving, but he doesn't use it?
Yani, he has money. He gave
Khalas,
to somebody.
akhi, if he has money, and if he has a decent amount of money which can suffice for him, then he's not faqir. Allah says, إنما الصدقات للفقراء والمساكين. Check out ayah number 60, chapter number 9. The first and the second of the 8 categories of those who are eligible for zakah: faqir, miskin, poor, and needy. But somebody has some saving and decent saving. Why would I give him zakah? Barakallahu fikum. So, with regards to your first question, keeping the bones after you eat the leftover in the same plate. The Prophet ﷺ forbade eating the dates and putting the seeds in the same plate. And guess what? And Nabi ﷺ, when he used to eat dates, he used to collect the seed here between these 2 fingers. Okay? The index and the middle. Then he would throw it away. Why? Because he doesn't want to touch the seed with his own fingers after it came out of his mouth. Then he will put his fingers again in the food, and that will be offensive to those who are sitting and eating with you in the same dining table. A lot of people do not realize that when we're eating dates and then you take the seed, or eating anything, grapes or dates or anything, or mangoes which have seeds, and then you eat and you put it in the same plate. It just came out of your mouth. Your saliva is covering it up. So it is offensive to others. But it's my plate. So that is different. That is different. The Prophet ﷺ is teaching us the best of personal hygiene and the best of etiquette. It's not only about you. It's about others who are sitting with you. And it may be offensive to them. And indeed it is. So if it is your plate, like if they have a plate in the middle to collect the bones, that is best. But if they don't, and it is your own plate, it is okay to keep it in your plate. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Muhammad from Nigeria, welcome to Ask Huda, Muhammad. Muhammad, assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me?
Alaikum assalam.
Ahlan ya Sheikh Muhammad, how are you?
Fine, Sheikh.
What is your question today?
How is the Umrah?
Umrah is beautiful. I haven't done Umrah yet. I'm still in the Masjid of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Yes. May Allah accept it.
Ameen, Ameen. And may Allah grant you and your family and the audience Umrah very soon.
Please, doctor, don't forget me in your prayer.
Sure, inshallah, definitely. I will pray for you and your family, Muhammad. I'm very, very proud of you.
Pray for me to be like you. Pray for me to be like you.
No, rather better than me. I'm nothing. I will pray for you to be better than me. I will pray for you to be like the Sahaba, inshallah.
Inshallah. May Allah bless you.
Muhammad, I mean, I'm very optimistic that one day, inshallah, when I grow old, I will be sitting and watching TV and watching somebody from Nigeria. His name is Sheikh Muhammad, and he's giving fatwa because he's a big faqih and a big scholar. But in order to do that, Muhammad,
inshallah,
you gotta seek knowledge and work hard, because it is not for granted. You really, really have to work hard. Okay? And inshallah, perhaps you can apply for your college in Al-Azhar or Medina University or Al-Qura in Mecca in order to really be a seeker of knowledge. May Allah bless you, Muhammad. Thank you so much for the beautiful call and dua. Aqil from Australia, welcome to Ask Huda, Aqil. Go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. First of all, Jazakallah for your time and efforts. And I've got a couple of questions. My first question would be, you know, we as a family here in Australia have got some used clothes we want to dispose, you know. So the preference is always to hand them over to the people who are in need, you know. And unfortunately, we are not able to find such people, and we have to dispose these clothes to a second-hand shop, which the shops sell them for some money. But there's a concern. Is there a possibility of getting a magic through those clothes, like that can adversely affect the family members? That's my first question. And the second question is,
one thing
the
at a
second
time.
question.
So you have some old clothes, and you want to give them to the poor people. If I were you, I would just immediately give them to any of these non-profit organizations. So when they redistribute the clothes, no one would know whether this is your clothes, your daughter's clothes, or your wife's clothes, just clothes. So this is much better. No one would just utilize the clothes of an unknown person to cast magical spell upon them. So that answers two questions. One, as how to dispense the clothes or distribute them. Second, yes, if one's clothes or one leftover from clipping the nails or cutting the hair can be used by evil people and sorcerers to do magical spell to hurt them, yes, it is possible. Now, what is your second or third question?
So the concern is still there that should we give the clothes to the needy ones? Like, I mean, there are no needy people in Australia, unfortunately. And to those organizations, if we hand over our clothes, is it fine? And you're saying there is a possibility of magic that can be done on them. So that's our concern. Should we dispose them?
Only if they know you. Only if they know you and if they intend to hurt you. But like if you want to sell the clothes in Australia and donate the money, it's permissible. If you want to save them and pay a little extra money for extra luggage whenever you're going back home and give them away, it's permissible.
Okay. Now, Jazakallah. And the second question is, these days we wear clothes. I mean, for myself, my kids, they're boys. So we buy clothes. They're shapes of animals which are made like a tiger or any animal, that's a logo of a company or something. And the question is it permissible to offer prayers with the clothes having a shape of or a picture of an animal? If it is, then is it a smaller one or a bigger picture? How far is it permissible? Can you please shed some light on it?
The logos of the Lacoste or the Ralph Lauren or whatever which has an animal, a horse, a tiger, an alligator, none of that actually gives you the details of the animal. It's just the shadow of an image. It doesn't appear. So that's why those small logos are okay if you wear the shirt or the coat outside the prayer or even while praying. What will be forbidden if a grown-up man or an adult is wearing something with an image that you can figure out the details of the image, the eyes, the eyelid, the mouth, the nose, the ears? That's not permissible, of course, neither in the prayer or outside the prayer. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sina from the USA. Assalamu alaikum.
Sheikh, I have a question on the zakat.
Now,
so I want to know. I have a 401k. Should I have to pay zakat on the 401k?
Fine. Which part of the 401k that you can collect and how much penalty and taxes you will have to pay? Can you hear me, Fasina?
Yes. Can you say that again?
Okay. Again, let's say that your 401k is 100k. If you decided, I want to cash my 401k, how much will be deducted as a penalty for early withdrawal and also taxes that you have to pay? How much?
Well, I don't know exactly. I have to calculate that one. But roughly right now I have like 30,000.
Then to answer your question, I'd like to add to you. That number one, based on the feasibility of cashing my 401k. Like if I want to cash it next week or in a few weeks, can I? Yeah, but you'll end up losing 30% penalty and then you'll have to pay taxes. So how much left for me? Perhaps 50%. Okay, and I can cash them anytime? Yes. Then you pay 50% on the amount, which you know that it's yours, it's accessible if you want to collect them. Otherwise, in other countries where their retirement fund is not accessible unless and until one of two things happen. Reach the retirement age, which in many countries 60 or 65, or upon death. So in this case, even if you have millions for 1K, it's not zakatable unless you collect them. On the day you collect them, you pay zakat only once for 1 year. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Well, yeah. Right. May I request the viewers who are still waiting on the line to hang around for a couple of minutes because we're going to take a short break. And also during the break, we're going to watch another reciter of the heavenly voices reciters, inshallah, and a couple of promos. And we'll be back in a few minutes to answer the rest of your questions. Please stay tuned. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back. We already have some callers. Muhammad from the USA, welcome to Ask Huda.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Go ahead, Muhammad.
My question is about Zakatul Mal. I'm trying to distribute Zakatul Mal and give it to some organizations here. Usually they take Zakatul Mal and distribute it to the refugees overseas in the Muslim countries and the poor and needy. But my understanding from their website that they take the Zakat money and they buy food and different type of aids and give it to the refugee. Is it permissible to do that, or it has to be given cash to the poor and needy overseas? And if it's not permissible, do you know any organizations like we can donate our Zakatul Mal to it and they will deliver cash to the poor and needy? جزاكم الله خيرا. أحبكم في الله.
جزانا وإياكم. أحبك الذي أحببتني فيما the one whom you love before his sake love you as well. That's a very interesting question. And as a matter of fact, as far as I know, that they cannot give in cash. It must be distributed in the form of food, medications, or towards the education, and all of that is permissible. I, as a zakah payer, when I give my zakah to Baytul Mal or in nowadays non-profit organizations, I give it in cash. And then they look after the needs of those who are in need, like in the refugee camps. So if they buy food out of it, if they build tents, if they build homes for them, like, it's not really homes, it's like, some bricks and with the ceiling, all of that is permissible, Brother Muhammad. But you need to specify and tell them that this is zakah money, not voluntary charity. Barakallahu feekum. I guess we have Salhin from Canada. Assalamu alaikum, brother. Salhin.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Welcome to Ask Huda, Akhi. Go ahead.
My question is, Sheikh, is there any way that women who pray Taraweeh at home, they can receive similar reward to the men who pray with the Imam until he finishes, like basically getting the reward for praying whole night, or should they be going to the Masjid as well? Barakallahu feek.
And who told you that they are not getting the same reward and even greater? As a matter of fact,
I don't know.
I'm just by the name. Yeah. I'm just trying to, instead of presenting the answer and that's it, to bring to your attention and to the attention of the viewers that there is a hadith. Humayd as-Sa'idi, may Allah be pleased with her, came to the Messenger of Allah once and she said that how much she loves to pray in Jama'ah behind him in al-masjid. He said, I knew that. But you know, Humayd, your prayer at home is superior in reward to praying with me in Jama'ah. So Allah the Almighty prescribed the prayer for men in the masjid in Jama'ah because they go in and out, and while most of the tasks of the women, if she's a wife, she's a house engineer, she's looking after the kids, the babies, and so on. So if I order her, you have to go to the masjid 5 times a day like the man, that's not going to be fair. So Allah the Almighty compensated her. When you pray at home, you receive a greater reward than praying in al-Masjid al-Nabawi. This is what the Prophet ﷺ said to this woman. So, if a woman wants to go to the masjid, can she? Of course. And Nabi ﷺ said you should never stop women from going to the masjid. But if she wants to pray at home, with pleasure, and your reward is guaranteed, you're not missing anything, since this is the promise of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Assalamu alaikum. Sister Hafsa from the KSA, welcome to Ask Huda Hafsa.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Go ahead.
Can we pay zakat to our watchman and plumber, as they get the salary monthly and they are young?
If they are poor, yes, it is permissible to give zakat to the gatekeeper, to the cleaners, to the maid, to the cook, to the chauffeur, to the driver, to the gardener, because they see the wealth that Allah blessed us with. I pay them their salary, and I'm not asking them to do anything extra, or after I give them the zakah, I say, well, you have to do this in return or a compensation. So it is okay in this case to pay your zakah to the workers who are working for you. Barakallahu feekum. Assalamu alaikum. Muhammad from Brunei. Assalamu alaikum, Muhammad.
Alaikum salam, Sheikh. I live 2 kilometers away from the masjid. Is it compulsory for me to attend the prayers in masjid?
No, it is not compulsory, unless if you have a ride and it's easy and affordable. But 2 kilometers, you cannot even hear the adhan. And keep in mind that, Muhammad, it's not about compulsory. It's about recharging the battery of Iman. Going to the masjid is actually a plus. It's something that Allah prescribed for us in order to increase the level of our word and the level of our Iman. So, if you can make it once or twice a day to the masjid, fine. Otherwise, you still can lead your family members in the prayer at home if the masjid is far away and you don't have a ride. Thank you, Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum. Saeed from Nigeria. Welcome to Ask Huda, Saeed. Assalamu alaikum. Brother Saeed, can you hear me?
Assalamu alaikum. I can hear you, Sheikh. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam. Go ahead.
Okay, Sheikh, my question is as regard to female Islamic preacher, the one that gives lecture and talk before, in public. Is it appropriate? Is it permissible in Islam for that to be carried out? That's my question.
Right. Well, in Surah Al-Baqarah, the Almighty Allah stated an answer to your question. He said, إِن تُبِدُوا الصَّدَقَاتِ فَنِعِمَّا هِيَ وَإِن تُخْفُوهَا وَتُؤْتُوهَا الْفُقَرَاءَ فَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ وَيُكَفِّرُ عَنكُم مِّن سَيِّئَاتِكُمْ. What does it mean? If you show, while you're giving the sadaqah, you show it and show others, so showing the sadaqah is not showing off if it is not showing off. If it is with the intention of acknowledging the fact, hey guys, there are some poor here, I'm giving them, in order to encourage others to give, in order to alert people to the reality of those eligible people. They didn't know that they're poor. So if the intention behind showing you sadaqah or the distribution of sadaqah is to bring to the attention of the people that there is some need here, then it is even better than concealing the charity. A couple of weeks ago, before Ramadan, I was invited to travel to some refugee camps in Beirut, in Lebanon, and carry on the distribution of some food parcels. Why? Because people wanted to know that when we say this organization or that organization is collecting money, besides being officially recognized, like in the UK, in the USA, in any your country, and they're being supervised by the treasurers. Okay, yani whatever donations and contribution is collected, they audit where did the money go, whom the money was given to. So I went and I took part in the distribution of the food, and I told you that it was heartbreaking, and it encouraged me to not just to give, but to tell you, people, those people are genuine and those people are eligible. And if you cannot reach out to the eligible people by your own selves, give to those whom we say that they're genuine in order to deliver your charity to them. So that was done on camera. They showed me while distributing the food parcels. What is the intention? Of course, I didn't donate that money. People did donate. Their money is being put in the proper place. And you, Sheikh Muhammad, are our eyes. You've been there and you saw what is going on. So here, showing the sadaqah is praiseworthy. Assalamu alaikum. Sister Fahmida from India, welcome to Ask Huda. Go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Fahmida. Go ahead.
Yeah, my question is, if we become a source of helping somebody financially, can we just to get ajr from Allah, so that Allah blesses us, can we ask the person to, in return, to just make dua for us, or that is like asking a favor from that person by asking them to make dua for us? So is it permissible to ask them to make dua for us? Is it permissible or not? This is my question. Thank you so much.
No. Thank you, Fahmida. The answer is exactly as you just said. It will diminish your worth. Why? Because you're asking for a favor or a compensation. I can assure you, if you give me a gift, a pen, which is even 1 riyal or dirham or 10 cents, I would say, thank you, Fahmida. Jazakumullahu khairan. And I will pray for you. But it's just a pen. I appreciate it. When you give somebody who's in need and he was struggling to feed his family, and you give them money that is enough to feed them for a couple months, may Allah bless you. May Allah give you more. May Allah protect you and your kids. May Allah bless your family, without you having to ask. And I've discussed before, those who give sadaqah do not ask dua or prayers from the recipients. Okay? Keep their word full with Allah. Allah said in Surah Al-Insan, إنما نطعمكم لوجه الله لا نريد منكم جزاء ولا شكورا. Not even thank you. You should expect or anticipate. In other words, if you give somebody and he didn't even bother to say Jazakallah khair, it doesn't matter. It will not change your heart. You will not feel bad about it, because you were not giving the person. You were giving it to Allah. You gave the person to carry your provision to the hereafter. May Allah the Almighty guide us what is best. Having said so, I ask you, brothers and sisters, to include us in your dua. You say, but you're in Medina, I should pray for us. I am. But also I want you to pray for us and for the entire Ummah for peace to cover the whole world, and for Huda TV to survive and to continue spreading light in every home. Happy and blessed Ramadan to all of you. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
تتطلع ظمآن